All right, hello and welcome. You're watching Prime Time. Professor Chukwuma Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, is embarking on some sweeping reforms in a bid to place the map of Anambra State in a bold print, thereby increasing the investment appetite to boost revenue for further development of the state. He now joins us on Prime Time. Glad to have you join us, Your Excellency, Governor Soludo.
Yeah, thank you very much, Benga. It's really a pleasure to be here.
All right, just a little bit of correction, not Benga. This is Ndi Amugo. Fine. All right, Anambra head and shoulders.
Ndi.
yeah.
Ndi Amugo.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, Your Excellency. Anambra head and shoulders over others in primary health care wins the 2024 Primary Health Care Challenge Award. It would be right to say congratulations. Congratulations.
Well, I don't know. Maybe, but I mean, for me, with humility, that's an encouragement for us to even, get off the block, because we think we're just only beginning, as it were. We still have a very long journey ahead of us, but we're putting the foundations in place, and I think it's beginning to show, but we still have a huge agenda in the area of human capital generally, health, education, and lifting the vulnerables up because of our focus on leaving no one behind. So, yes, the primary health bit is one of those reform areas that we're trying to put Anambra on the map.
Fantastic. This was a rigorous, independently developed performance monitoring framework. You had key pillars of performance, governance, financing, quality service delivery, etc. Talk to us about the quality service delivery of your administration and what the motivating factor really, what the driving force really is for you and your cabinet in this quest.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We got to put in the issue of primary health or reforms in the health sector within a broader context of our vision to build a livable and prosperous homeland, a livable and prosperous, smart mega city where people will live, invest, work, learn, relax and enjoy. And for you to build all of this, we're hitting reforms on 5 major pillars. The first being security, law and order. The second key pillar being infrastructure and economic transformation. And the third being our human capital and social agenda. And of course, is our governance, infrastructure. And the fifth being the environment, towards having a planned, regenerated, planned and coordinated, sustainable environment, the markets, communities, and the cities, as it were. It's within this ambit of the macro, our vision to have, if you like, a mantra of building, laying the foundations to have Anambra as the African Dubai, Taiwan, Silicon Valley. The Dubai component of being a logistics, commercial, entertainment, leisure hub, or Taiwan in terms of mining our huge human capital, not having much of natural resources, but mining our human capital to industrialization and so on. And then, of course, the Silicon Valley, where we're also mainstreaming our tech potentials and so on, where we have also won national awards, tech and innovation, and we're building our own Silicon Valley here. So you put it in this general framework, and you see the pillar on human capital. That's where we're dealing with health, education, and dealing with vulnerable groups, and lifting our youths together and empowering them. And all of this, the framework for it is for us to have a human capital that is productive at home and exportable abroad, be it in the area of education, be it in the area of health, and with a philosophy or an ideological bent, because I come from the All Progressives Grand Alliance. We are progressives, and mantra is to leave no one behind. We are very intentional about it, and therefore, when it comes to education, for example, that's why we have free education, for example, from primary through secondary in all public institutions, hiring 8,115 teachers qualitatively from 18 states of Nigeria, just to ensure that we deliver quality, mainstreaming, smart digital education, and of course with the foundation being qualitative teachers and so on, and refurbishing the infrastructure. Primary emphasis on education, but building the foundation to last. Then on health, you come to health, the system is as strong as the weakest link, and the primary health segment is the weakest in the chain. How do we ensure that out of the 326 wards in Anambra, every person living in a ward will have access to qualitative health facilities and health facilities that they can access at a very affordable price. So in this area, we're massively investing in the infrastructure. In all the 326 wards, refurbishing their infrastructure, building new ones, powering them with solar, furnishing them, fundamentally putting water, solar, and so on and so forth. Hiring over 1,000 medical personnel and making sure that each of them is powered with high qualitative personnel.
Yep.
And deploying technology to link each of them to a secondary call center that we can say that if you have access to, if you live in a ward and you have access to a health center,
Yep.
you have access to a doctor. And then you get on to the legal framework, the monitoring institutional framework, and very importantly, access. We're mainstreaming free antenatal, free delivery for all pregnant women in all public government institutions, from primary health through general hospitals and even the tertiary teaching hospital in the state. And this has benefited about 82,888 as at last week. That's the number we've had that have pregnant women that have benefited. You go through our system, you get free medical services, and you even get free antenatal drugs. And when you deliver, you give birth, it's free, including cesarean operations. About 400 women have now delivered through cesarean operations, free of charge. Some
Your
of them
Excellency.
delivering triplets, quadruplets, and so on and so forth. So, the summary is that yes, we are powering on this on the primary health sector, as you've asked, but that is within the overall context of building this livable and prosperous homeland. For example, on infrastructure, you know, as part of the foundations, even building now almost 700 kilometers of roads and delivering about 12 kilometers every month.
I was going to come to that,
the
Your Excellency.
remotest areas and connecting them. Yes.
I was going to come to, before I go to the roads.
I was saying that we're connecting them to these remote primary health centers.
Yeah,
we'll
come to
so
the roads.
Yeah,
we'll come to the roads. But let me take you more on this, on the health. You know, plans I gather are on to have at least one world class. By the way, you said productive at home, exportable abroad. That's interesting. And Dubai of Africa. That's interesting. Plans are on to have at least one world-class facility in 326 or 321 electoral wards, well-equipped general hospitals in all 21 LGAs. You've built 5 new general hospitals. You want to dwell a little bit on that before we go to the roads and then some other issues.
Yes, like I said, this kind of snapshot interview, it's each sector that we focus on And my second anniversary, I think my team put together what they consider to be the 100 sterling steps that we have taken on the road to laying this foundation. Yes, in the area of health, as you probably just mentioned, we want to ensure that each of the local governments has at least one world-class general hospital. That's at the secondary level. And the 326 electoral wards we have, each of them to have, very well equipped, functional, equipped, in terms of infrastructure, water, electricity, basic equipment, operating equipment, and well-trained personnel in them. We've just built 5 brand new general hospitals in the local governments that never had one. And you know, coincidentally, all the 5 general hospitals are in the North Senatorial Zone. I am from the South, and my immediate predecessor comes from the North Senatorial Zone. But we're not, because our mantra is leave no one behind, we're not doing this, we're just focusing on the areas of need. And for example, you won't believe that our nation South never had a general hospital since Adam and Eve, or Okpoko, the biggest slum with over 500,000 people, never had one in their life. For a local government like Anambra West, and so on and so forth, never had general hospitals. They're not having any. In this leave no one behind concept. We're also, strengthening our nursing schools, building a brand new one, and with a cancer center that will become a branch of our teaching hospital, as the case may be. We're also strengthening our tertiary health facilities. So we have a total ecosystem from primary through secondary through tertiary, but also emphasizing the whole chain in terms of supply of qualitative manpower to power them on a continuous basis. And we continue, of course, many will be jabbing, as it were. And so we must have continuous supply, a pipeline of continuous supply of well-trained medical personnel. So in sum, we take a very comprehensive approach, leaving no aspect of it. Whether, currently we're building a trauma center that some people say might probably be the biggest. I don't know. I don't know many others to compare with, but people point to all kinds of, in terms of its size and where we're heading to. But yes.
Yeah, good.
Yes,
good.
you were
good.
calling me.
Good, good. Let's look at this achievement and awards, how it's going to be a pedestal, a stepping stone, to do much more. And the challenge always is that when a governor or a leader goes out, the next one that comes in seems to drop all that have been achieved by the past administration. So what plans do you have of making sure that what you're laying on ground, there's continuity after you've left office?
Well, thank you very much. If you listen at the very beginning, I said we're only just beginning. And that's why the award even came to me as a surprise, because we're not focusing on awards, we're focusing on the job to be done. And for me, each day, what I see is the millions of things not done. I hardly even notice the ones already done. So for us, we're at the foundational stage. So the award for me, it's an encouragement that, okay, we're on the right path. And the point is to continue to accelerate. The major thing is the benefit to the people. When I say that about 82,888 pregnant women, very poor ones, have received this free antenatal free delivery service, that's what makes me happy. or when I hear that our mortality rates, whether maternal or child under 5 mortality rate of now one of the, if not the lowest in the country, I think we're second lowest and so on. These are the kind of things that give me joy. But you know what? About what happens thereafter. Of course, we're setting up some legal, institutional reforms to strengthen and deepen these reforms in what I pay attention, what I call building to last. But again, like everything else human, you can only play your own role. And the important thing is whatever it is, be it anywhere in the world, you can never finish and say that's the end of history. People will come, either build upon it or retract from it or even deviate completely. That's the dynamic of society. Excellency. But while we are here, yes.
You do your bit. Yes. Let's discuss security for a bit, and then maybe we'll dovetail to pension. It doesn't sound quite the same in security, or if you like insecurity, in the state. Some residents, for example, have declared out of that 15 out of the 21 local government areas as being insecure, and I've actually asked you, the governor, to declare a state of emergency in those areas. 15 is quite a high number.
Well, I don't know who is I don't know who is stating and the numbers that anybody, of course, is there insecurity in Nigeria? Of course, the answer is yes. Do we have some insecurity here in Anambra, challenge here? Of course, this is a fact. Actually today, which is quite interesting, it's quite interesting that you had asked for us to talk yesterday, it didn't work, and you said shifted it today. But actually today, it's coincidental that today is the 33rd month that I have been in office. This is my 33rd anniversary here. Actually, when I arrived, before I arrived in this chair, 8 local governments were under total siege by the hoodlums, taking over these entire places. As candidates, none of us could campaign freely anywhere. I mean, in those 8 local governments. In fact, a governorship candidate then was abducted while he was driving on his convoy. They stopped him and picked him until today. He hasn't been seen. Even myself, I was attacked in my village while I was addressing youths and so on. Left 3, it was, I mean, they came there to take me out. Killed 3 policemen instantly on the spot, and went away with somebody that they thought was myself, as it were. So we were, even in my own local government, the day of my campaign there, that day was hell, so to speak. The kind of shooting that was rampant almost on a daily basis. That's the context in which we assumed office, and we declared a war on these criminals. And I want to say that these 8 local governments are largely liberated, substantially. I mean, largely liberated. Ihiala remains a very dark spot, and Orumba South, but we're all relenting as we speak. We have 4 free on board camps. I mean, soldiers, police, Navy, our vigilante, and so on. 4 groups of them, right. You know, massively combine that local government. So when somebody says 15, so today, then, I had the opportunity to address the Anambra people on what we consider to be the next step, the next level, in terms of our fight against these hoodlums, and as a prelude to what we are going to be launching after January, what we call Operation Udogachi. We have about 163 vehicles we are rolling out. We're massively deploying our vigilante service to work in, and of course I won't discuss the full details of this kinetic onslaught. against these people. And when we launch, we will also be coming up with non-force, non-brute force measures that we're also putting in place to ensure that, you see, we are facing a very unique kind of criminality where agitation, some mixture of agitation and what ideology has created an environment in which the security officers, the security agencies are being seen as the enemies and the criminals being seen as the liberators. That's a very deadly combination. Right. And that is the kind of thing that we are fighting. But we're determined to cleanse them off and make Anambra the safest state in the country.
Good.
So, anybody, I mean, social media, people throw up all kinds of things. They sit in their home and make their own assessments. And but that's okay.
Well, that's why you're here.
We have rolled our sleeves.
That's why you're here.
That's why we're not relenting anywhere. Yeah.
All right. I heard you say that you want to carry
go ahead.
everybody along. I mean, that's the mantra. That's your thinking, and of course your cabinet.
Leave no one behind. Leave no one behind.
Okay, but some people are crying actually in Anambra State. The pensioners, some retired directors in Anambra have given the government till mid-February 2025, that is next year, ultimatum to harmonize and upwardly review their pensions. What's with the delay? I mean, they're saying if that time gets and nothing is done, there will be a showdown. What's with the delay, Your Excellency?
That's really, that would be very funny. Depends, I mean, whoever is issuing that. I also received letters of gratitude from pensioners thanking me because, let me put a context. There's a proverb we have in Igbo of this tortoise that was in a hole for years and people were defecating in the hole. And then somebody comes around and announces that by tomorrow we'll bring you out. That's when the tortoise now begins to tell you must hurry up because my this thing is smelling down here. Now, I assumed office. I am the one who, without prompting, after last year's fuel subsidy manner and everything, talk about palliatives and so on and so forth, I happen to be that governor that paid, I mean, and I'm sure you check your records, there are only very few states that did that. That for 4 months declared on this cash award, non-taxable cash award, that we'll give to our civil servants of 12,000 per month, and we did that till the end of the year. Even at the beginning of my last year, from January, even before the current general election, I had increased salaries and so on by 10% without any prompting. When the shock came, I paid 12,000 to every worker. But guess what? We also paid the same thing, extended it to all pensioners. All pensioners. I don't know anywhere else that ever happened. Not just the workers, but pensioners. Now, this year, we've just had minimum wage conversations. I don't know how many states, and you can check that out and find if there is, how many states there are where, the government has paid minimum wage and then also had something for the pensioners. Anambra, if there are 5, if there are 2 or 3 or whatever states, Anambra is one, because we said we leave no one behind.
Okay, Excellency.
When we announced minimum wage, and our minimum wage is not just the gross, is that after all deductions, including their union dues, all deductions, that the least paid worker goes on with 70,000. We looked around and said, but there are some pensioners. What do we do about our pensioners? And we decided to have unilateral 10,000 naira cash award to our pensioners, in addition to their pension, month on month.
Yeah,
I want you to check this out and confirm how many states in Nigeria that you have this, or anywhere else that you have this kind of goodwill and empathy, actually. That is compassion and empathy happen to be a driving force for us, subject to our resource constraints, as it were.
All right, Your Excellency, before we let you go.
And in any case, you forgot. You said you were going to talk about infrastructure, and you went to patience.
Well, if we have time, we'll get to that. But let me ask you this: in politics, today's defection of some Anambra reps to APGA, from APGA, plus INEC recognizing Ezo Kenwa led APGA national executives. And then, of course, key appointments from Anambra by Tinubu government have been from APGA, in Anambra State. What's happening? Is APGA standing on one foot or not standing strong?
Well, the first you talk about INEC rectifying the previous mistake about putting someone else's name there. Barrister Sly Okenwa husband remains and undisputed national chairman of APGA. There was a mistake and that has been corrected. And I want to thank INEC for doing that. I thank the Supreme Court for rising up and the courts, the Federal High Court, whereby Justice Omotosho, the Court of Appeal, and now the Supreme Court, clarified this matter once and for all. So we're very grateful to the judiciary for doing that. APGA is standing strong and standing firm. And don't forget, APGA is the foremost progressive party in Nigeria. It is the first political party in Nigeria to be registered as a progressive party in 2002, before subsequent others. And then I get down to say, when you talk about appointments and the magnanimity and of our president, the president and commander-in-chief, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for appointing, for the first time, an APGA member as a minister of the Federal Republic, in the person of Her Excellency Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu. And then appointing also an APGA member, and actually a member of my cabinet, as the first managing director of the Southeast Development Commission, Mark Okoye. And first of all, I think this is new and different, and it speaks volume about the large-heartedness of Mr. President, and he's thinking about the nation in terms of government of national unity, as it were, by having an inclusive government, having people from other political parties, take on very key roles in the administration of the country. And so I want to commend the President for his leadership in this regard. And if I put it some other way, I think on a lighter note, I did say when I was asked about it in a different forum, I did say that the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, and then you have the All Progressives Congress at the federal level. You see, the common denominator is that both of them are the all progressives. All progressives.
All right.
And
Excellency.
I did quip there that progressives are working together.
Good, Your Excellency. Then, before I let you go, the question on infrastructure. I gather you're busy completing the. I think this is Ezira Umomaku Enugu roads. You have also awarded the 621, I hope I'm correct, 621 kilometer of roads in less than 3 years. You want to talk about it?
It's actually almost 700 kilometers now. And in our 33 months in office, and completing almost 400 kilometers so far. We are doing more than about average of about 12 kilometers, and the quality that Anambra has never seen before. With stone base, soft cement stabilization, stone base, and then solid asphalt. And we're delivering an average of about 12 kilometers asphalted per month. You see, ours is an agenda with a deadline. We came here, we know we have limited time to spend, and the time just flies very quickly. And so even from the day I was sworn in, I didn't have the kind of fanfare that typically, done such ceremonies. On the day I was sworn in, it was just in front of my office, and I just went into the office and worked for 8 hours and 45 minutes on the first day. The second day from Okpoko, where we now began our urban regeneration transformation. A slum, biggest slum, I would say, if not in Nigeria, with over 500,000 people, no roads, no water, no health facilities, no electricity. And we've now done about 15 and getting to 20 kilometers of intra-slum roads with street lights and having pipe-borne water running there now with a general hospital where the residents are receiving medical attention free of charge. We've begun to intentionally connecting all the road that you mentioned gets down to, it's one of those roads that are connecting communities and far-flung places in Anambra that have never seen 1 square inch of tarred road since Adam and Eve were created. You come to Oka North here. Oka is the capital, the next local government here. You won't believe, some far-flung, 5 communities there to the other end, they've never seen tarred
All right,
road.
Your Excellency.
We've taken 27 kilometers to them, and
right,
so on and so forth. So we are, on totality, as you said, about 700 ongoing.
All right, we'll leave it
almost
there.
400 completed, but we are even only beginning.
All right. All right, thank you so much for your time, Your Excellency Governor Chukwuma Soludo.